New Year. The chair is correct. We do have a problem where people have not saved and are not able to save for their retirement. And keep in mind, that's before this new rule becomes effective. It's not this new proposal that is the reason people have not saved for their retirement. Wages are too damn low, and organized labor is an important part of making sure that people get paid enough to be able to save for their retirement. It also illustrates how important it is that we not privatize or cut in any way Social Security, since we're probably going to continue to have a circumstance where people find it difficult to save for their retirement. The regulation before us has those who hate it, those who love it, put me in between. The fact is that we need to improve this regulation, but I think ultimately we need a regulation in this space. The most important improvement would be to add to the regulation itself material that's found in the preamble to the regulation, so that it is clear that the regulation is not supposed to deal with choose me discussions, is not supposed to where somebody's saying, please have me as your advisor, does not have to deal with proxy advice or generalized advice or discussions of how you're allowed perhaps to take money out of your IRA and give it to a charity. Many charities are happy to provide you with that advice, and they usually have an idea as to which charity should benefit from your largesse. So a lot of what's in the preamble needs to be as legally binding as the rest of the rule. We see an incredible balkanization of regulation designed to protect investors. We have three different committees of Congress involved: the Ag Committee, the Labor and Education Committee, and ourselves, all involved. And when it comes to dealing with retirement funds, we get three different agencies of government involved. We get the SEC, we get the Department of Labor, which is why we're here today, and we also get the Department of Treasury, which, as I understand it, has not bothered to adopt any regulations, in spite of the fact that it solely has jurisdiction over protecting your IRA. So we have best interest regulations in most of this space. What are the exceptions? Well, there's an exception when you have a guaranteed insurance product. Now, that is subject to state regulation, which requires best interests. If you're in one of the 40 states that has followed the rules of the National Commission of Insurance Regulators, that is to say the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. The second area you have is where there's going to be an investment in something that is not classified as a security. That includes some insurance products. It also includes commodities when you're investing in from your IRA, because the Department of Treasury has chosen not to impose any national regulations there. And then finally, because money in your IRA doesn't benefit from these protections, what becomes very important is the decision to move your money from your employer's ERISA plan to your IRA. And it is that decision that is an important part of the proposed regulations. I think the states have done a good job of regulating insurance products, but I'm concerned when there are 10 states that don't follow the National Association of Insurance Commissioners models, because they may not only fail to provide support for their people in their own state, but you may have an ERISA plan headquartered in Delaware. You may have an insurance agent or a broker or company in Delaware. And if Delaware, for some reason, isn't part of this, the retirement funds of somebody in my state may be implicated. So we ought to require the best interest of the investor to be protected, and we've got some loopholes to fill, and I yield back. At least one of the witnesses testified that retirement savings are important, therefore this rule is bad. I think that's a non sequitur. Throughout savings by ordinary middle-class Americans, they have best interest protection. I've got an account with Merrill Lynch. It's not an IRA or retirement account. The SEC gives me best interest. ERISA accounts administered by the employer, best interest protection is there. And in 40 out of the 50 states, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners provides best interest protection. So it's by no means clear that best interest protection prevents one from making good investments, since the vast majority of the savings of middle-class Americans enjoy that protection. Though there are just a couple of exceptions, and this rule purports, and I say purports, to simply cover those additional areas. But clearly, most of our witnesses don't like the regulation, and so my first question is one I'd like you to respond to for the record. What changes should be made to this regulation so that its effect is to provide the same level of best interest protection that I have, or everyone has in their regular securities account, that the National Association of Insurance Commissioners seeks to provide, and that already applies to ERISA accounts? Because I don't think that anyone is objecting or could object to the idea that in a society where almost all accounts have best interest protection, that there should be a few that don't. I'll point to an AARP poll on financial advice for retirement plans conducted just last month, which found that 90% of adults 50 and over believe that financial professionals should be required to provide advice in the best interest of the investor. Is there anyone, I'll ask for a show of hands, that believes that you shouldn't be required to provide advice in the best interests of the investor? No hands went up. I'll comment for the record. Ms. Neely, you don't think that best interest should apply?
I was listening to the double negative. I guess I should let you finish, sir. I was just going to say, we do support.
I just wanted, I've got a limited time. Without, hopefully there being no objection, I want to enter in the record this report from AARP on the hearing that we're having today.
No objection.
Okay. Now, Ms. Neely, I will make one comment. You talk about how annuities provide guaranteed income for life, but they aren't, for the most part, inflation adjusted. No American should underestimate the ability of Congress to cause inflation, not just what we've had now, but what we saw in the 70s and 80s. And your industry doesn't really provide inflation-adjusted annuities, and there isn't a single company that provides an inflation-adjusted annuity starting at age 80. That is to say, a longevity policy that's inflation-adjusted. So this security that I hope you're advising your clients, this is secure income, but $100 might not buy you anything 30 years from now. Let's see. Well, does Ms. Neely, is there a problem with providing the same, well, if we just had the Department of Treasury require that the same standards that apply in 40 states with the National Insurance Commissioners apply to all 50 states, would that be a problem for your industry?
Well, we do support, just to say it again for the record, a strong best interest standard, which is what we have thanks to the Reg BI and the work.
But there are a few areas, as I said in my opening statement, where that strong standard doesn't exist. Do you support extending it to those areas too?
Well, we do, which is why I would predict that most of the states will have adopted it by the end of the year. So, but what I would further say is that what the Department of Labor has proposed goes beyond that.
And that's why I've asked for the written comments of everybody on this panel. How do we get these regulations to do what I think we all agree, and that is we should have the same protection across the board that we enjoy in most of the economy. With that, my time has expired.